Hi friends and children, welcome once again back to Home Tutor. I am your personal teacher Nipa Nipin. How, when and where is the first chapter of history that an 8th standard student should study. We have already completed part 1, 2 and 3 and this is part 4. How do we know is a topic that we are going to discuss here. So please do watch all the other sessions and come to this topic, otherwise you won't get a continuity. So let's go to the topic. How do we know? What sources do historians use in writing about the last 250 years of Indian history? Administration produces records. One important source is the official records of the British administration. The British believed that the act of writing was important. Every instruction, plan, policy, decision, agreement, investigation had to be clearly written up. Once this was done, things could be properly studied and debated. This conviction produced an administrative culture of memos, notings, and reports. A question is raised here in this paragraph that in which all sources, materials, or things does the historians depended to find out and write the history of India, that is, for a long back period of 250 years. So, British administrative official records are one of the important sources of our Indian history. Britishers found that the importance of keeping everything in the written format is something that is unavoidable for the future transactions. They made the directions or order, that is instructions, then policies, that means a course of action proposed by an organization or individual, then plans, that is a detailed proposal for doing or achieving something, agreements or contracts, decisions or considerations, investigations, that is a formal or systematic examination of something. uh, each and everything was written and it is kept as official records. This type of written records help them to study and discuss about a matter scientifically. The systematical usage of written records helped to develop a new administrative culture of notings. Notings means making some notes, then reports and memos. The British also felt that all important documents and letters needed to be carefully preserved. So they set up record rooms attached to all administrative institutions. The village Tahsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the provincial secretariats, the law courts, all had their record rooms. Specialized institutions like archives and museums were also established to preserve important documents. The Britishers not only recorded the proceedings officially but also built a record room attached to all the administrative institutions like the village Tahsildar's office, the collectorate commissioner's office, provincial secretariat's office, law courts, etc. Each institution had their own individual record rooms. In order to preserve important records for the future activities, the Britishers built archives and museums. So we want to know what is archives and museums. There are buildings and places in which objects of historical, scientific, artistic, or cultural interest were stored and exhibited. Only the difference between archives and museums is that in archives, the documents are only preserved or saved. For example, we can see the archives in Gmail. But in museums, it is exhibited too. So the difference is that in archives there is no exhibition, only preservation. But in museums there are exhibition too. We have went and seen lot of museums and palaces, that is Mysore Palace, then Tripuntra Palace. Trivandrum Palace. There all we can see different type of exhibitions like crown, sword that have been used by different king, etc. So this is an exhibition. So when we go to museum, things are exhibited, but we can't see anything exhibited in archives. Letters and memos that moved from one branch of the administration to another in the early years of the 19th century can still be read in the archives. You can also study the notes and reports that district officials prepared or the instructions and directives that were sent by officials at the top to provincial administrators. Letters, memos, etc. that were used during the first half of 19th century are still available in the archives only because the Britishers considered the importance of keeping the written records in official rooms like archives. You may study about the notes and records prepared by district officials. Then the instructions, orders, laws, warnings, etc. sent by the higher officials to the lower officials like provincial administrators also can be verified while we check all these official records that have been preserved by the Britishers. In the early years of the 19th century, these documents were carefully copied out and beautifully written by calligraphers, that is, by those who specialized in the art of beautiful writing. By the middle of the 19th century, with the spread of printing, multiple copies of these records were printed as proceedings of each government department. During the first half of 19th century, the documents were copied and written beautifully by calligraphists. So we want to know who is a calligraphist. A man who is skilled, talented in writing beautifully is known as a calligraphist. So calligraphers had importance during the time of Britishers. That is, they were appointed for writing records and stored in archives and museums. But later, when the printing machines was invented, the importance of calligraphers declined and the government records were now saved in papers and kept in archives. Figure 4. The National Archives of India came up in the 1920s. When New Delhi was built, the National Museum and the National Archives were both located close to the Viceregal Palace. This location reflects the importance these institutions had in British imagination. In Figure 4, we can see the building of National Archives constructed on 1720s. The Viceroy of India decided to build a city for centralized administration of India. For that, lieutenants and architect was appointed for building Delhi. At that time, most of our cities were built planned. For example, Mysore city, Hyderabad city, Bangalore city, etc. are planned cities. The viceroy is a similar position to president of modern times. The president of India still live in the viceregal palace built at the time of Britishers, that is the Rashtra Bhavan. Okay, let's come to the point. Here the National Museum and Archives were built next to the viceregal palace. From the position of the building near to the viceregal palace, we can understand that how important was record keeping, and they were maintained by the Britishers with utmost care. I think the official records were very much preserved by them, by the Britishers, beyond our imaginations. This is clear from this picture. Okay, we are winding up the session right now. So we have studied about viceroys right now, and we have already discussed about them in part 1 of this chapter. So please do watch that also. And before watching this video, go through all the other sessions, otherwise there won't be any continuity. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel and also press the bell icon for continuous subscribe, that is notifications. Then continuation of this chapter will be on next video. Don't forget to watch, like, share and subscribe. Thank you.